easy to make. Once you know some techniques, I'll show you how. Coming up. Hey, Chanel here, bringing you weekly videos to help you get better and better with your fashion sewing and be more creative too. So be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you won't miss out on any new videos. So I thought I would show you a few of my little tricks on making a patch pocket. They're pretty easy to make and really fun to make, and really rewarding when you see them made up. So make sure you try some patch pockets. This is a sample of a patch pocket that I made. It has a little pleat, like an out, I don't know what you call this, but you just stitch it. I'm going to show you how to do it. Real simple to do. You just pull it out, stitch it, and then top stitch it. There's also these other pockets that are inverted pleats where you see like there's like a little inset type of pleat. Those are fun to make too, but this one, I just got this off of a pattern. It was like a little denim jacket pattern, and I've never made a pocket like this one before. It was really simple, but patch pockets are basically, you just patch them on. They're top stitched on, and I'll show you a little technique on getting them exactly squared off, because that's the trick to making a good pocket. So this is the a little pocket scrap book here. This is a pocket with the flap on it too, so I'm going to show you a little technique on how to do that. And pockets are fun, so let's jump into it. Okay, here is the pattern. It has a tuck going here and two little notches here. What I would do first is, looks like I already did these, cut little notches right here so you can see them. You can see the little notches right there. Also very important, this is the grain line here. You want to cut pockets on the length grain because they're stronger. If you cut them on the cross grain, they start to really stretch out. So you always want to make sure that these are really squared on the grain line. Let's see, so we have our two lines, our notches right here. What we're going to do is fold this pocket in half, right sides up, so wrong sides together on this one. And then I'm going to find my two notches here and give myself a mark where to sew. So I got it nice, it's like pretty much nice and even, and I'll use a friction pen to draw a line here, notch to notch, and I'm going to go and stitch that part right there. Okay, I have it just stitched right there. I used the contrast thread I'm going to use. Then I'm going to press, it's got my ham out here, I'm going to press this, kind of flatten it centered. It's kind of strange, but you got to get it right. Just center it up like that. It's hard to get it centered, but you want that seam centered there and each tail to go out that way. So let's go right here. Hard to keep it down. I want a nice even little pleat, and just press that like that. It's pretty easy. Now I'm going to top stitch right close to the edge on each side of that, keeping the whole pocket free. So you can see it's just a little flap there. So just stitch those two. Okay, I'm going to go do that. Okay, that turned out good. Just a little top stitch right there. Now I got to make the whole pocket bag. And what I'm going to do here, usually the patch pockets will have these marks on here, but I've kind of change this design on this one. So what I'm going to do is put little clips right at like 1 inch down right here, and my cutting board here has 1 inch marks, so just like a tiny little, like if that were a notch. What I'm going to do is fold it over this way. Like, you also might want to overlock the top part of here, or just sew under just 1/4 of an inch on that part, so when it goes in here it has a finish right there. Okay, first thing I did was I pressed in this little flap here so that it's a nice edge here. And I'm gonna just zigzag that. You can overlock it or straight stitch it, and then just do a little zigzag, kind of finish off the edge. Right there. And you really need to, how do you say, reverse it. So I got that finished there. Now I got to take that part, and where I have my little clips right here, I'm going to turn it that way. So let me get my thread right here, and then pin it like that. And then I have to stitch around this 5/8. I had this marked. Now I have a crease in there because I am redoing this. Now I'm going to put this on straight stitch. On it's going to be basically a stay stitch right here. It's actually just getting used to this machine still. So I'm going to start right here and reverse stitch it. And go to the end of that corner and reverse stitch it there. And then I'm going to sew straight 5/8. I'm going to pivot right at the 5/8. It's good if you have this really marked well, especially the pivot points marked really well. So you got to get it right in there. Pivot. So right on the line, that's the pressing line. And the stay stitch helps it just really press really well, you'll see. And up here, I'm going to reverse stitch it where that goes. Oops. I'm trying to get used to this machine. Reverse stitch it there. And then take it out. Now I have my little fold over here, and then I'm going to turn. A lot of times this part here, if it's a thicker fabric, you probably want to trim this out, but this is a pretty thin fabric, so I'm going to keep it there. And you're just going to use a little point turner and get this real straight. And I'll turn it this way. Get this really pointed out, and then it looks like that. Now I have to go and press all of these seams, or all this like extension inside, following that stay stitch line right here. Okay, so I'm going to take it to the ironing board. Okay, now I just need to press these right at the stitch line. Actually, I can go ahead and press this down too. There, and then let it cool to form a nice crease. And press the length, the sides first. Get it really press, let it cool. Depends on the fabric. And then the end part here, I'm going to really make sure these get tucked in, because if you go here, you don't want these to stick out like that part. So I really want to make sure I kind of cup that in a little bit. And then I'm going to press that part. Let it cool. And then get the other side like that. Like that. Let it cool. All right, now pocket is ready to put onto the fabric. Could also top stitch this here, but I don't want to put another stitch across there, so I'm just going to leave it. Then you're going to put it on your fabric, and your pattern will tell you where, will have circles probably, or it says placement lines, and then that will tell you where to put it. So I'm just going to line that up. Let's say my placement line was right there. It's going to line that up there. And then I'm going to pin in the direction, if I turn it this way, I'm going to pull them out so that when I'm at the machine, I don't have to futz with the pins and then moving the pocket around. I'll just put pins like that. And then I take this over to the sewing machine and I just stitch top stitch around here, and then I got to put my blue thread back on there because I want the blue to show. All right, I'm going to take this to the machine. Okay, I got this all pinned on, and now I got to just top stitch it around, and I put some blue thread on my machine. Just take that first pin out, got my stitch set up, a couple stitches, reverse it right here, go a little bit wider there, just sewing it really close to the edge, and my eye is actually looking right here where that end of that fabric is on my presser foot, so I can see, when I look there, it actually, you know, kind of keeps it straight. Put my needle down, pivot right there, and then continue this way. Keep that little pleat down. Oops. Again, my eye is right here, and then the needle is down, pick it up, pivot. Try to get it as straight as I can. This one looks like it's a little bit different than that one. Just going to go here. I'm going to show you how, if you ever look on the back of your jeans, you can see there's a little line right here. It gives a reinforcement. I'll show you what that looks like. I'm going to go to the end here, reverse stitch it. Then I'm going to pivot right here and go about 2 stitches that way, pivot, and then pivot back way, and I'm going to go a triangle shape. That actually gives a little extra reinforcement and also just a little extra design. I'm going to go to the where my little fold was at, reverse stitch it there, and you can go back around this way and then do a little reverse stitch here. And then you pick it up, and then that is how this looks with it all top stitch. So you can actually do, I'd put them on both sides, but I just wanted to show you that. So that is stitching the pocket down, and now I just need to put the flap on it. Okay, there you have it. One little pocket. Now, a lot of pockets have flaps on them. So if you wanted to, like our pocket here, they have like the flaps. This pocket is in a seam, but I'm going to show you, I'll just cut a little square piece here, show you if you wanted to do a flap. These patterns, if you have a pattern, it'll just cut that pattern out. They are typically just a hair wider than the pocket itself because it needs to go over like this. So if you look at, I stitched it here on the 5/8. You can see, I get this right here. You can see it's just a little bit wider than the pocket bag itself, because then you'll sew it, put it down, and you want it to cover the whole pocket. So be sure if you have a pattern that you are following the seam allowances, because that's how all these things get accurate. And you put 5/8 here and a 5/8 here, everything will line up together. So first off, you're going to take your pocket flap, fold it right sides together. You might have it where it's interfaced. So either one side's interfaced, I'm giving a little extra security in it. This one's just a thin piece. Then you're going to sew down those sides, and then you'll probably, just like we did that one part, is clip the corners like that. And also grading, you can actually just trim part of it all off. You can also grade out, thin out some of the seams, especially if it's bulkier fabric. This one's really thin, but then we'll just trim this out right here. Then you want to turn these right sides out like that, and you want to get point turner. I have a really good, this one's almost too sharp. Ouch. I think it's from the 70s. Got it from somebody, and it's really sharp. But sometimes if it's like denim or something, you really want to get it sharp on there, it's good. I used to just use a pencil, but then I'd always get like lead marks in there. So you're just going to get that real sharp, give that a press, and then I'll show you how we're going to attach that. You also, maybe you want to top stitch it. I think I'll go press this and then top stitch it, and then I'll show you how we attach it. Okay, I got this pressed and top stitched around here, and now I got to attach it to the garment itself. So a lot of times on the pattern, well, a lot of times they'll have a mark of where to actually, like they'll say placement line. So they'll have a line of where to place it, and then dots to show you. So you can see that these are just a hair past that, past the pocket itself right here. So it's a little bit, and a lot of my students always want to match things up, but sometimes they're not meant to be. And then let's say, actually, let's get this, let's do like, it's probably, sometimes it's like a 1/4 inch seam allowance, or it might be a 5/8. So you have to check. I'm going to actually just put a 1/2 inch seam allowance right here, and then I'm going to go and stitch right here, and then it will get pressed down here and then top stitched there. Actually, sometimes we actually have to trim this part and then enclose that whole seam right there. So I'll do all this at the ironing board. I won't press it, but then your final pocket's going to look like that. So I'm going to take this and press or stitch right here and then finish the rest of it, and I'll show you how to do that. Okay, have it all pinned on, ready to sew it right on my mark there. I'm just going to do like a 1/4 inch seam allowance right here. Sometimes it'll give you 5/8 and you just trim it. And this is placed just a little past each one. Make sure you reverse stitch it. This machine is so much slower than my other one. So on the stitching line, right to the end there, reverse. It up. I stitched it on there. That's how that looks. Then I'll take this to the ironing board, get these all clipped off, and then press this down here, and then top stitch it. But I'll just go ahead and press it, finger press it that way. And then you want to enclose this seam right in there, so it's about a 1/4 inch. A lot of times I'll just trim that a little bit closer, but I think I got it right there because I did a pretty small seam. And then you're just going to close that up, reverse stitch that. Make sure you pressed right over. You don't want to get the pocket caught either. And you're going to go here, reverse stitch that. There you go. And that is your pocket flap right there. And clip that off. Make sure you don't get your pocket caught here. And there, that works. So that is done. Well, there you have it. One little patch pocket, perfectly sewn. So cute. I love making pockets. They're really fun. So let me know in the comments below if you've ever done a patch pocket or if you've learned anything new. I know I see it in the instructions to stay stitch that line, and a lot of people don't do it. So I think it really helps. I do that on all my pockets. So give a pocket a try. Let me know how it works out. I'll see you in the next sew bit.